That's right. Wake up the kids down at the Ajax waterfront with that noise, man. You know what I'm saying? So my name is Greg Frankson. I am the artistic director and the host of this wonderful series. We are at a point that is very historic for what we are doing here in the community, in that a year ago, in June 2022, we had a gathering with 4 artists who had contributed to Africa Anthology, Perspectives of Black Canadian Poets, and an anthology of voices that was published last February. And when we brought those folks together who came to perform, they were Andrea Thompson, Asante Houghton, and Dwayne Morgan, who came to perform with me as well. And the 4 of us put on a show in this very space, highlighting those Black voices that had appeared in the anthology. And coming out of that show, you know, I knew by the 4th person who told me that show was incredible. It was so great to be able to come and do it in Ajax. I live 15 minutes up the street. I didn't have to go all the way downtown to get this. This is amazing. Can we do more? And I'm like, I didn't think so. Me have to start a series or something. So that's what ended up happening. That is how this series came to be. And so that African Anthology Showcase we consider to be the birth of BlackLit Durham. And so we are celebrating a year of elevating and amplifying Black voices in Durham region. And we have had dub on this stage, storytelling, fiction, nonfiction, poetry. We've had memoir. We've had spoken word. We've had all kinds of different forms of artistic, literary performance and sharing. And tonight we have 3 more incredible featured writers for you. But before we get to that, we have to take care of some basic business. So the first thing we wish to do is to acknowledge the land upon which we stand. And this territory that we stand on here in Ajax, Ontario, Canada, is the original ancestral lands of the Mississauga of Scugog Island, who also shared this land with the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Chippewa, and the Wendat peoples under the Williams Treaty and the Dish with One Spoon, where we are encouraged as settlers on this land to treat the land as one big dish with a spoon that we pass around to share the resources and the benefits of being here on this land. And so we pay respect to those who were here first, who have been stewarding this land for generations before any of us showed up as settlers. And we respect the fact that we are able to gather and to celebrate our voices here in this space because of what they have provided for us. So you have a little bit of respect for that, absolutely. You can clap if you want. It's all good. And then the second part of what we do at the beginning, which is a new tradition here, we hope that will spread throughout Durham region when we gather with Black voices, which is to give a little bit of respect to the nation that we become as Black people by playing the anthem that we all know. So if you wouldn't mind rising, removing your caps if you are wearing one, for the playing of the Black National Anthem, lift every voice and sing.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song us march on till victory is won.
Thank you, folks. You can be seated. So, before we get into talking to our first feature performer, I was wondering a few things for everyone who has come to gather before. So, first of all, is this, for those of you, this is your first time attending here at BlackLit Durham? If so, show of hands for all the first timers. Whoa, that's a lot of good first time. Yes, I like that energy. I like that new people energy. That's amazing. And like, how many of you have been to literary performance of any kind that features Black voices? Okay. And now, my third question is, how many of you would like for us to not just continue BlackLit Durham, but to ramp up towards a large exposition of Black voices across the literary spectrum that we could host here in Durham region on an annual basis to bring people from across the province and across the country to celebrate those voices? How y'all feeling about that? So I want to be the first to tell you that we are going to be having a showcase event as our next event on our calendar, because of course this series runs every other month. And so that places us in August, which, for those who don't know, the province of Ontario has gone beyond simply acknowledging Emancipation Day on the 1st of August to declare the entire month as Emancipation Month, right? Now, for somebody like me, that's dope, because that means that, I could get the Black people lick in the wintertime, and now we can get it in the summertime. Every 6 months is a Black people month. Like it, right? And so what we're going to do is this year, we're going to have a showcase event. I'm going to be announcing our lineup sometime in the next couple of weeks as we start to ramp up towards it. Mark your calendars on Saturday, the 19th of August. We'll be right back here in this space, bringing together a whole bunch of artists as the 1-year countdown towards the first annual Canadian Black Literary Festival that will be based out of Ajax, Ontario, Canada. All right? If you have interest in learning more about the festival, how we're planning it, how we're putting it together, suggestions on organizations or businesses that may wish to sponsor or participate as vendors, please let us know. You can find us online, blacklitdurham.com. All right, so that's enough of that stuff. I've talked enough. You need to hear some art, right? Okay. Are you sure you're ready? We know say you ready, but you think the rest of them ready? The rest of you ready? Is everybody ready to hear some art now? Okay. So our first writer for tonight is going to be Abigail Grimes. All right. And Abigail is a multi-genre author of gripping fiction, poetry, and nonfiction with heart, and the host of Written by Grimes, the podcast. And she is inspired by the world around her. And Abigail's work centers relatable yet flawed women in our contemporary world, their struggles, joy and pain, and all the things they wish their mothers had warned them about. She is the author of the thriller The Violence of Fire and the poetry and prose collection For the Quiet, and the upcoming contemporary domestic thriller Beautiful Things. So many of her books are available. You'll be able to buy them after, but of course you want to get the sample first. So let's bring Abigail Grimes to the BlackLit Durham stage.
As Greg had mentioned, I am a multi-genre author, and I recently added poetry to that list of genres that I'm writing. So my poetry and my creative nonfiction tends to deal a lot with loss, love, and grief. So this evening, I will share with you 2 poems and a short story that move through those themes. So the first poem this evening is for my unborn daughter, and it's called Dear Briar. Dear Brian, it is no surprise I can't stop thinking of you. The culmination of recent events leads me down a road where you're at the end, but you are not there. You are a ghost. I feel haunted by you. I want you to let me go, yet I am unwilling to know the world without you in it. Everything this week reminded me of you. The specter of you hangs around my shoulders, and yet there is nothing more comforting than conjuring you in my mind's eye. You bring me back to myself. You ground me. You remind me what love is, for you are love. I'll never get to touch you, to feel you in my arms, to brush away your tears, or hear the tinkle of your laugh. But I feel you in me. And while it hurts, I will endure the pain, because it brings me closer to you. I won't forget you. In the stillness of the night, I am heartbroken, but I am grateful. Rest, beloved. Rest. So this next piece is a short story inspired by the term shift widow. A former colleague of mine coined the term, or at least I think she did. It's the first time I heard of it, so I'm going to give her credit for that one. And it's stuck with me ever since. This story is called Impressions. She sat in the living room and stared out the window as the world around her woke up. Snow steadily fell that winter morning, covering roofs, cars, and fence posts in a fluffy white cap. It was almost transcendent. Her mind drifted to grade school when a day like this brought with it the possibility of hearing those magic words, snow day. You could go outside, make snow angels, run and play. Those days had long since passed, but the excitement remained. She gave a passing thought to what her neighbors would think if she were to go outside and make snow angels. She cared too much about what her neighbors thought. George Michael crooned in the background. The seductive tenor of his voice slid down her spine. She didn't know why she did this to herself. No one needs slow jams on a Sunday morning. Her wedding song played next. It threatened to carve a hole in her gut. But she didn't turn it off. She must be a glutton for punishment. The sound of her own voice echoed mournfully in the cavernous space. She closed her lips. She was aware she was talking to herself more nowadays. She couldn't remember a time where she would carry on entire conversations with herself before this. She sometimes worried she was losing touch, but she rationalized it. Sometimes she just needed to hear things out loud. It helped her make better decisions, to be honest about seeing different sides of a story. The truth was not nearly as complex. It was quite simple, really. She spent most of her time alone, and this is how she coped. She rushed around the house to gather and sort the laundry. There was always so much laundry. For a home with virtually only one person in it, it always seemed to need tidying. She felt as though she were being haunted. A ghost lived in her house. It was unnerving at times, but if she were honest, she would also say it was comforting. Those were the times when just knowing she wasn't completely alone was enough. She hadn't laid eyes on him in weeks, her ghost. But she knew he was around. There were always signs. A shoe left askew, a new dish in the sink. And that which haunted her the most. The fog on the bathroom mirror, the dampness in the air, and the steady hum of the fan. When that was the case, she knew she had just missed him. She missed him. She spent most of her time alone. It bred an unsettled ache in her chest, a churn in her gut, a persistent tear that threatened to spill down her cheek. She hadn't signed up for this, but it was routine now. One week, he slept upstairs, so as not to disturb her. Another week, he slept upstairs. Because it was darker during the day, he slept upstairs. She thought he would have been awake when she got up. It was 7 a.m, yet there was no sign of him. The thought of climbing the stairs to peek in seemed somehow intrusive, like a mother with a teenage child. He'll come down when he's ready, she thought. There were things to do, errands to run. And today she would do them alone. She did them alone most of the time. They were strangers. That was just the reality of the thing. She glanced at the clock on the mantel, a gift from a time long past. The small gears toiled, and the sound drew her attention. She came to realize how quiet the house was. The deafening squeals of these tiny gears forced her out of the chair. Just leave the room. She stood, suddenly feeling foolish. Was this how other people were in their own homes? That question again. What do the neighbors do? Who cares? She did. Her footfalls mocked her as she walked to the kitchen. Slap, slap, slap. The sound of her feet on the engineered hardwood. Even the hardwood was engineered. Contrived. Like the string of vague thoughts that shuffled in her mind, like a deck of cards. A deck comprised entirely of jokers. She just wanted something to eat. It wasn't all she wanted, but would have to do for now. A balanced breakfast came to mind, like the ones on TV. She opened the door and came face to face with an empty fridge. A testament to her loyalty, her foolishness. The knowledge that there were things that needed to be done outweighed all else. They needed groceries. They needed paper towels. There were errands to run, and going weeks without supplies in an effort to ensure that they did these things together no longer made sense. Had it ever made sense? She showered and dressed and called out to advise she would be back soon. She received no response. She was not surprised. In the garage sat his car, his baby. Not having one of flesh and blood, it was the closest thing to fill that void. She hated the thing. She was almost positive he loved it more than he loved her. They'd been together just as long. Hitting the open road, even to run errands, always freed her. She felt in control of her own destiny when she was in her car. Once on the highway, she sped along with the flow of traffic and turned the music up, way up. She sung out loud, unabashed, free. She sung desperate love songs, rock songs, show tunes, everything, anything. The ghost didn't inhabit her car. It couldn't haunt her there. It was tethered to the house. But then guilt. Guilt often accompanied free, always hiding just out of sight, ready to tell, always ready to cause trouble. And there it sat, in the shopping cart, ready to throw a fit. Why couldn't you just wait? You were supposed to do this together. Guilt's whine escalated. It was a sound so powerful, so overwhelming that even though she tried, it would not be ignored. It was a sound only she could hear. She finished the errands and headed home. She wanted to be present when he finally appeared. She wanted to see him, touch him, talk to him, face to face. The heaviness of the apparition closed around her as she pulled into the driveway. But it wasn't until she pulled into the garage she realized her miscalculation. His vehicle was gone. This was not the weekend she thought it was. She wouldn't see him. Not today. She sat in the car, the moment of grief intense, but it would pass. It always did. Her car's upholstery had absorbed more than its fair share of tears over the years. What was one or two more? She blew out an angry, saddened breath and got out of the car. She hauled the heavy grocery bags into the house. At least she wouldn't go hungry while she finished the laundry and cleaned. There were new dishes in the sink. He must have arisen after she left, or who knows, maybe he'd been awake the whole time, lying in wait until she had gone, waiting until it was safe to haunt the grounds freely. It had stopped snowing, and the hours whiled away. She debated the tenets of global warming, fad dieting, and marriage. That was a touchy one. It usually left her red in the face and emotionally drained, feeling as though her body had been turned inside out, nerves exposed. It would be 3 days of this. Bearing down, she made her peace with it. She had no other choice. Work, and home. The shadows grew longer. They inched along the walls and slid across the floorboards, reaching for her. One more wretched echo would have broken her, but the pillows were back on the bed. The apparition made tangible. They were free to talk, to touch, to be together, but nothing was ever that easy. It would take time to get used to sharing the bed again. The gears of the clock turned loudly. They hadn't much time. In 3 days, the cycle starts anew. So, thank you. Sorry. Thank you. This last piece I would like to share is a poem inspired by all the conversations we should have had while engaging in others. It's called All the Things I Should Have Said on a Tuesday Afternoon. Smiles lay heavy upon our lips, our mouths empty caverns through which jumbled alphabets clamor and spill, forming sharp stalactites and mighty stalagmites, forging treacherous paths. Over time, from below and above, fuse to impressive columns of silence containing all the things never said. As we grow, we tread old patterns on new paths, search through the rubble to find jewels to polish and shine, to string together meaning, to lay like wreaths upon our weary shoulders, strings to pass down so they won't be lost. Adorning ourselves in words in hopes that someone will see, someone will call attention, someone will deem them valuable, all the while knowing they are but glass, shiny and pretty, fragile and meaningless. Sitting together in silence we claim is comfortable, we share a drink in the summer sun. Watching perspiration form on the glass, droplets catch in the sun and sparkle the way conversation should. The heavy smile returns, carrying the weight of deep yearning, desperate to chip away at the facade. Eyes now cloudy with time and knowing, starkly aware that it's too late. Silent vows to do better, brush against reality. There will be no opportunity. There will be no other time. Never to admit we are so terribly alone. Glass beads draped against my collar, once yawning caves, now sewn shut. I sit with all the things I should have said on a Tuesday afternoon.
Keep it going, everyone, for Abigail Grimes. Whew. I was sitting in the back and I'm getting all the feels. I'm listening to this poem, listening to these words, like incredible stuff. Thank you so much, Abby, for coming and sharing with us this evening. And we're very lucky here, as part of what we do with BlackLit Durham, is that we have these wonderful local Black businesses who are involved in what we do. So when we take our intermission, you'll have an opportunity to go out into the front foyer. You'll be able to see the good folks at the Ajax Public Library, who are some of our partners as well. But you'll also get to savor the tasty treats that have been brought here by the Baker's Lab. And also there are some wonderful little like cards and other wonderful craft-based gifts that you can purchase from JM Couture Crafts. So we're gonna give you that opportunity to do that. Please support Black business, pick up a little something during intermission, all right? Cool. In the meantime, let's keep the art going. And we're gonna introduce our second featured writer for the evening, the Pretty Provocative Poet. Yeah, I know. She said, excuse me, say what? Don't worry, I see you. All right, I hear you too. It's still, it's okay. The Pretty Provocative Poet is a spoken word artist, musician, producer, and author from Toronto. He currently has 3 poetry collections available: Black Men Cry Poetry, Blue Hearts and White Lies, and Poetically Letting Go. He also has 2 poetry albums, Poetry in the Key of Life and Still Me. And these are all on digital platforms that you can access through the link tree on the man's IG. So look him up at the Pretty Provocative Poet. Put your 2 pieces of meat together rapidly in appreciation for the Pretty Provocative Poet.
All right. So I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not sure what poems I'm doing tonight. So this is going to be a journey. So let's begin with telling me what style or genre of poetry are you guys into? Just shout it out. Do you guys like mental health poems, erotic poems, love poems? No? Okay, we got to know. All right. Love poems, okay. Anyone else? All right, we're going to keep it PG tonight. So this first poem that I'm going to do, I wrote it during COVID. So I was off March break with my children, and the pandemic happened. And I had plans later on that year to go on vacation by myself. See, March break was about the children, and the rest of the year was, supposed to be about me. So I had plans to go to either Barbados or Jamaica or Trinidad, and the pandemic said no. But the beauty of being a writer is we get to escape through words. So this poem was birthed out of that experience. Where the sun shines bright and the cool breeze speaks. Imagine 2 years of quarantine are now finally complete. I travel to an island where peace and I meet as I sit with a drink and I rethink my beliefs. I place my cold, ashy feet on this old, endless beach in search of a type of wet that I often forget. When on vacation, I'm suddenly met with shoreline waves that have crept between the cleft of my toes. And who knows how many steps I've taken to reach this once forsaken place in Caribbean Ocean where seaweed can be seen floating on the sea of forgetfulness. I now walk deeper into its depth with my chin to the sky. I don't question God why as the sun begins to smile on my face. I now wonder if my caramel skin will get a taste of more color, and will I become chocolate for your tongue to discover? But that thought quickly fades. As unbeknownst to me, a wave smashes my face. In salty seawater, I taste unwillingly, feeling like it's killing me as I'm choking on this beautiful body of water. Till my lungs become free from the grip of oceanography, and I could breathe once more. Looking back at the shore, I see sandcastles made, children at play, an old gray-haired elderly man, Cuban in hand, smoking his life away. Smash! Another wave crashed. But this time, I'm prepared and jump in the air, aware that salt water doesn't taste refreshing. It can be borderline life-ending, so each jump is a leap of faith to survive. I decide I no longer want to be baptized in its beauty. I long for safety. Back on that beach where white sand softly burns black feet, where flip-flops meet rock and sand almost candle hot, causes the thought, sandals, save feet, from committing suicide. So I try to run back to shore, but Blue Water Pure is holding me. It's forcing me to run in slow motion. I can't wait to step foot back on that beach where the sun shines bright and the cool breeze speaks. All right, so as stated before, I am not just a poet, I'm also a musician and producer, and I am a big lover of jazz music. So this next poem I'm about to do is my ode to jazz. I wanted to write a deep poem called A Journey into the Standard of Jazz. But somehow my trip became me walking up giant steps into a cold train where I could see for miles, and it was some kind of blue. So I said, God bless the child who has to live in this existence. Then off in the distance, I could see the girl from Ipanema smile as the autumn breeze blew the autumn leaves beautifully. Truthfully, this was reminding me of a time where I had Georgia on my mind and that funny Valentine. Wait. She was 6'8", not in height, but in time. Try to measure your love while drinking over the bar. You see, within these confines, I find moments of time for you, moments of love. Okay, maybe it wasn't all that jazz, but round about midnight, I saw the stardust travel across the sky in a circle of fifths. If you get my drift, what a wonderful world we live in, where being dizzy is actually a gift. And the loneliest monk knows that true love is unforgettable. In a birdland where strange fruit can leave a bitter taste like black coffee, my favorite things were impossible to consume. And my summertime paycheck wasn't enough to fly me to the moon, so I'd have to settle amongst the stars, or at least one night in Tunisia. And it was there where I saw the most peculiar thing. A musical playground full of no monkey bars, no slides, nothing. Till this kid ran up and told me, man, it don't mean the thing if it ain't got that swing. And I started to realize that Tunisia was really similar to Manhattan. So I jumped on the A train home. I was going up yonder, transported in movements full of congruent progressions. It was like a seventh heaven, never to be seen but heard. Word? Stopping off at music room 251, I could see that this was revelation.
A musical exploration for a journey to unravel, and to this day, the standard of jazz continues to travel. Yeah.
So this next poem I'm going to do is one that is very heartfelt to me. So again, my name is, I go by the Pretty Provocative Poet. You can find me on Instagram. Follow me, please. And I connected with a very good friend of mine on Instagram during the pandemic, a white friend of mine, and we became really close. And during one of our conversations, she was like, yo, my nigga. And I was like, whoa. What did you just say? And she was like, yo, my nigga, like, you're from the hood, And I was like, even if that is the scenario, it's not appropriate for you to use that language. I don't even use that language with my friends. So I don't appreciate you saying that to me. So she was trying to educate me on Black culture and how, it is okay to say this word. So we ended up not agreeing on that conversation. And she hosts a poetry platform, and I decided to do what I think best. I don't shoot guns, I'm not a violent dude, but I have words. So I did what I did best, and I wrote a poem. And I decided to do it on her platform. And so this next poem I'm doing was birthed out of that experience. If anyone is offended, I am sorry, but this is my truth and a lot of Black culture's truth. Take it in love. Little white Karen told little black Kevin that little black boys weren't meant to read. And I know there's barely any imagery for you to see. But see, this story has already been told, bro. There is so much in that little intro. Little white Karen told little black Kevin that little black boys weren't meant to read. Oh well, I guess it's show and tell that in little white Karen's white privilege is apparent. You see, the fact that she had a need to tell a little black boy he wasn't meant to read should make it plain tonight. Because never in life have little black boys thought little white girls weren't meant to read and write. So little black boys tell little white lies and little white girls like little black guys. When little white Karen can't literally see why little black lives matter so heavily to me, then we have a problem. And while I'm at it, y'all saying the word nigger makes me think of picking cotton. Nigger like old white slave master, oh, you thought it was forgotten. Amnesia seems to be common when your ancestry seeds planted grow and grow and grow into a tree of racist ideologies and racial inequality. Foundations so rooted, you think you get a pass to say nigger because it's popular in music? But grown white Karen doesn't believe. Gets pulled over by the police, jumps out of a Jeep, middle fingers in the air, cursing cops in the street, while little black boys watch in disbelief. Because we've been taught to never even speak when questioned by police. But little black boys kiss little white girls. And suddenly big white Karen thinks she knows a big black world. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's all white people, but some of y'all have gone too far. And if you think it's okay to say nigger, then that's a perfect example of how privileged you are. How am I for time? One more? Okay. All right. So I'll just end this. This one is one I wrote recently. It's one called Season of Me, and it just kind of talks about a little bit of aspects, the good and bad parts of me, and hope you enjoy it. I am competent confidence, conquering consonants, Canadian conjuring compliments cross continents. Call me a crazy constant who chronicles content carefully. I'm searching for the right cougar to care for me. I'm comical. I hate cops and constables. Cool poets comparing me to who? Tell me who's really comparable. I'm like a mix of Nas, Oscar Brown Jr., and Common too. I hate the hospital. Diabetes, the only obstacle I haven't hurdled yet. Guess it's genetic. Achingly poetic, me, a track star, athletic, running from relationships made up more than cosmetics. What's wrong with me? Crazy in love is more than a song to me. Come along with me as I journey pain like it's gorgeous geography. Women, I don't know how to trust you. I don't know how to love you. I don't know how to keep you, but I do know how to leave you. Guess it all started when my father left me evil. He never taught me how to treat you, but I do know how to eat you. But that's not this kind of poem. That's not this kind of poem, and I'm not the kind of man to tell my secrets. You know, the ones buried beneath the deepest parts of my mental recess, 'cause see, then I'd have to feel it. And then I'd have feelings, and which one of us men really wants or needs them? We rather distract ourselves from seeing ourselves. So sometimes, when I take a look at my life through this journey of poetry, I realize that I'm nowhere near the man that I'm supposed to be. But one thing's for sure, I'm succeeding, I'm intriguing, and I am butterfly-like free. I am the pretty provocative poet, and tonight, I'm in a season of being me. All right, I'm gonna do this love poem, because someone did say love. I'm hoping it's just love. But I had to filter it while I go through. All right, let's rock. I sat at the bar. I witnessed the Venus star as she glanced in my direction. Paused as I suddenly saw Jupiter and Mars in your dimples. I contemplated if that was heaven ascending in your smile. You spent a while on your phone beguiled. I spent a second in my mind walking you down the aisle till bartender snapped me out of destiny. He asked me what I wanted to drink. I took a moment to think because my automatic answer would have been, baby, I want to guzzle your glamour. Sip your seduction till I'm lost off your loving and fall in love sweet with you in my arms and love in my heart complete. Then I reply, bartender, I'll have sex on a beach. I leap off the bar stool cool, walk over to you and speak, excuse me, but did God bottle beauty and pour it all over you? We laugh and I ask you your first name, wanting to give you my last. Waves of love crash over this time we're spending. I'm depending on this moment to leave a lasting impression, but my tongue is nervous. I'm trying to find words perfect to match yours, but every syllable you utter is making me wonder as a Christian, is this what it was like when God spoke the world into existence? Pretty, perfect, and wise. I'd be honored for you to be my wife. We've lost track of time and found forever in this conversation. It took forever for me to find perfect creation, but now I see the Eve that God has made for me, and she is as beautiful as the sixth day. But this is our first. Ironic, because I plan to take you into church. White dress covering wonderful flesh. I will protect you from snakes and hate. I know we just met, and I know I need to wait, but man, I am so glad for this first poetic, lovely date.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Pretty Provocative Poet one more time. I'm just kind of mad at you right now, bro, because now I got to try to live up to that with my peeps, you know what I mean? I go home and be like, so why don't you write me a poem like the Pretty Provocative Poet wrote me? I'd be like, because I need to sleep. I don't know. But thanks a lot. No, I appreciate you coming out for that. And we got one more. We got one more writer for you before we take a break. Y'all ready to hear one more? All right? You want one more? Okay. Because I don't know if you all ready for this, but we're going to bring Judith Shaw up here. All right? And Judith is a poet and a member of the Durham Storytellers. She is the author of the children's book, My Grandmother Said Art is Everywhere. And she was born in Kingston, Jamaica, raised by her grandma Wawa. And Judith believes that grandparents are wise and special and that they should be loved, honored, and respected. Judith works as a visiting home registered practical nurse, but also finds delight tapping into her artistic abilities. She enjoys daydreaming. Yeah, we know that. Keep it PG. And believes that art arrives from the ability to dream and from the freeing of our imaginations. So, folks, allow your imaginations to go on the journey that Judith is about to take you on. Ladies and gentlemen, Judith Shaw.
Me say the light them bright in my eye. Oh Lord. Yes. There's something I want to share about me. I love love. I love the warmth of love's embraces and caresses from love's passionate kisses. Love erases loneliness, replacing it with togetherness. Love. Love is that four-wheel transportation of happiness that drives away all sadness. Love. Love pumps through my veins, circulating deep, tender affection, releases compassion and appreciation. This, I know, is love. baby's first cry, baby's toothless smiles, the giggles and the sparkles in their eyes. This too, I know, is love. Spring awakening from winter's sleep, musical birds singing cheerfully, tambourine melodies in the lush green trees, colorful flowers painted in the summers. Sweet fragrance, ocean breeze, clap, clap, clapping of the calling sea. Love, 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 love. Love does not ache. It's the healer of painful sensation. It's the maker of peacefulness. It's the laughter and the chatter creator. It's the steps in your dancing feet. Love, 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 love. Love is a euphoric pleasure. This moment, right here, right now, is love. Love is you and me in harmony, inspired by the greatest love of all, loving myself unconditionally. I love. I love love. Thank you. This poem is called Justice Wake Up. I kind of like to write in my own mother tongue. So I put a little patwa yes and a little patwa this. All right? So this is Justice Wake Up. I wonder why justice keeps sleeping, slumbering away with masked eyes, shutting out the war zone hearts and the war zone minds, the hearts and minds that keep tossing grenades of injustice everywhere. Wake up, justice, wake up. Mr. Fi wake him up. Blow the trumpets and the horns and turn up the alarm. Wake up, justice, wake up, please. We the people calling for peace. We the people calling for security. We the people calling for equality. Wake up, justice, wake up, please. Can't you smell the burin of the rising inflation? White collar profit rising as blue collar children starving. White collar profit rising as working class people owning, renting, living in their own home declining. Justice, please, wake up, please. Homelessness step on the rising. Property keep on increasing. All me see is the rich, 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 and the poor, 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 and more poor. No in between no more. The middle class shrank to extinction. Can't seem to find a way to resurrection. So scammers claim a reason for terrorizing our senior citizens. Wake up, justice, wake up. My raging heart is bleeding, bleeding, bleeding fury. Justice, wake up. Wake up, justice, please wake up. And see all the media condition us. All them feed us is the solution. Force us to digest the unjust. We're really here about the kindness that so many has been sharing among us. Wake up, justice. Me say fi wake him up. Blow the trumpet and the horn. Turn up the alarm. Wake up, justice, wake up, please. We the people calling for peace. We the people calling for security. We the people calling for equality. Wake up, justice. May I beg you, please, wake up. Thank you. You know what? This is mic here, no can't angle my voice. But allow me to echo. Boop, 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 boop. You hear that? Yes. Some of us kind of stand with from it. Okay. This little island is the land of my birth. My neighbor string buried there. Deep under the rich soil, yes, deep beneath the ground, where Jew plum and mango tree roots spread out, connecting to the roots of my family tree, the tree that sprouted from the West African uprooted seas, replanted in Westmoreland, Hanover, and Kingston City. Jamaica, Jamaica, the land me love. Out of many one people echoes throughout. So smile for me, Jamaica. You are the land me love, Jamaica. Come let me and your wheel and turn to mentor. Come let me on your scan to scare. Come let me and you rock steady to the rhythm of the beats of roots rock reggae. Haul and pull up. Come again. The dancer selector take me upon the river upon the bank once again. Come no man. Come let me and you hold each other tight, 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 tight and wind up the waistline. Come no. Come let me and you hold each other tight and slow, wine and bubble pan each other all night. Come let me and you dance close till the sun rise. Oh, island in the sun, where the salt water breeze mix and blend up with the sweet, sweet fermenter seed. Lord, the jerk pork and jerk chicken make the island wind sweet. Jesus, Lord, but escovitch fish and bami is a nice piece of treat when you're sitting by the sea. Ackee and sawfish, the island national dish. Serve it roast breadfruit. When you nam a plate of this, it make you hum and sing. Whoa! Look how me mouth run water. When me remember me grandmother wawa. Sweet, delicious coleslaw. Brown stew chicken and rice and peas. Yes, for real. Jamaica, your national tongue, full of lyrics, full of rhythm, full of the beat of our ancestors' love. Miss Lou Anna Itina Jamaica Labrish, Muta Baruka and Lillian Allen celebrate it in a dub poetry. No ma, no sir, no way no better than yard. Me say no ma, no sir, no way no better than yard. Yes, Jamaica, you little. You little but you talawa. Woo! Yes, Jamaica, you little. You little but you talawa. Oh my God, I am so happy you guys are enjoying this. I do enjoy performing it to you guys, so I really like your reception. Thank you very much. So this is my last poem, and it's called, what me name it? Me I try to figure it out. When I read it now, tell me what you think I should name it, all right? All right. So this one was really a poem that I tend to sit on my toilet a lot when I calm my throne and my ideas come. And while I was writing in my diary, and I was thinking, Lord, I'm not writing it for a couple of days. And it was June the 3rd, and I said, June the 2nd, and I said, Lord, June 1st gone so quickly. I come and gone so fast, and then this idea came. Yesterday come and gone. She no linger long at all. Me and she sit down for a while in the sunshine and reminisce about old times. Yes, me dear. We also sip on some ice cold lemonade. And when one cool breeze find we try beg if we sit down and stay. But it no swift pass we. without a care, me dear. So me and yesterday lift we eye to the sky and thank God for what breeze left behind. We hold each other hands, you see, and we laugh and laugh. And then we start chat about the days of yesterdays. Some make us bawl, some make we hold we belly and laugh. Some put us to the test, yes, as so we say. And some make us try to make we do we best. Me not try to pick up spilled milk, but nothing wrong with walking down memory lane and pick out some pieces of yesterdays. Me believe say, as so stories create, so me and you can share them tomorrow. And yes, my dear child, we can share them today. Thank you.
Judith Shaw, everyone. One more time for Judith. Now, wasn't that an outstanding bit of wordsmithing, sharing from the heart, and a little borderline PG conversation? Borderline. So we have come to the point in the program where we take a little bit of a break, a breather. So we encourage you all to get up, stand up, go do whatever you need to do. We do have refreshments that are available at our cash bar. Please feel free to get yourself something there. Visit our Black businesses out in the front. See the folks from the Ajax Public Library, our partners here in this show. Take a little stretch, talk to the poets, there's the writers, talk to everybody. And then we'll bring you all back in here. We're going to have a little discussion with the featured writers. So go ahead and take your break. We'll see you back here shortly. And please make sure that you also go and check out the table where the books are available. Purchase books, support the artists. All right, we'll see you soon. Hope that you took the opportunity to go in and say hello to our vendors, our friends from the library. Maybe picked up a book or two. Anybody in here pick up a book? Did anybody buy a book? Yeah, we got some book buyers in here. That's what I'm talking about. We got to support and we got to make sure that people are still reading things. It's amazing. You go into the schools, these kids can't sign a signature on a sheet of paper. They don't know how to do it, but they still know how to read. So we got to make sure that we keep that reading game strong. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, you all feel me. All right. So we're just going to chat a little bit with the writers. And I'm just going to start off by asking a couple questions, and we'll see if there's anybody in the audience who has anything they wanted to remark on, whether it had anything to do with the way that the readers presented their work or some other question that comes up as we discuss. We just like to do this little casual bit so that y'all can get to know these folks a little bit more on a more personal kind of a level, all right? So the first thing that I'm going to get into is, as I said at the beginning of the show, this is a year that we've been doing this out here in Ajax, and it's pretty amazing that we can have this kind of a community show out here. And so I was going to ask the three of you, when you reflect back on when you were coming up, like what were those kind of community influences that helped you to move towards a love of word and of writing and of speaking? So I think I'll start this one with Abby.
Okay. Just because I looked the most deer in headlights when you asked that question.
That's right. So just pull that mic right up to you and go ahead.
This closer. Hello. What
your community influences?
What were my community influences? Well, I spent a lot of time at the library. So we had, I grew up in South Oshawa, so spent a lot of time at the Jess Hand Library and Lake Vista Square Plaza. Woo, South Oshawa, woo, yeah. So spending a lot of time there, story times there, and my parents are huge readers, so having that influence in the house was pivotal for me to come to understand that reading and creating stories was something that I felt a real strong connection to and something that I wanted to have as part of my life. So
Awesome.
that's basically
That's
it.
awesome. Pretty provocative poet.
Yeah, so I'm very introverted and nerdy. So my experiences were like I remember my father introducing me to like Langston Hughes and Maya Angelou, like bringing home. My father thought he was a poet. He was not a poet, but he would try to write. And but he's the one that exposed me to poetry and the love of written word. So that's how I got reading. Writing it was when I first heard Nas reading, and I was like, oh, you could express anger in writing. I was like, to me that was like a whole new level of writing. That's what kind of pushed me to expressing my pain, but not physically or hurt anyone, but just through the written word.
Ms. Shaw.
You want to know the truth? Well, I wasn't the greatest student in school. We never liked to read book. Honest to goodness, I wasn't that great. But I'm going to be honest. One night I got up and I sat up in my bed and I said, I'm going to write a children's book. Just like that. So I would like to write a children's book. And that was years ago. So I wouldn't say my community influenced me in that sense, but it was just something that was within me. I guess God wanted me to do it. And it was years later, I wrote a poem, and it was something that I thought, and I guess when you say community, I was reflecting back to my community living in Jamaica. And thinking back as a child that I was never considered myself an artist because I couldn't draw. So I ended up writing a poem called Artists Everywhere. And I started taking ideas from Jamaica, just like how somebody can climb a mango tree. I see the art in that. My grandmother food, I saw the artist in that. My language, good morning, I saw the art in that. So I wrote this poem, and when I wrote the poem and I was sharing it with other poets, one of the artists said, why don't you turn it into a children's book? I have no idea how to do it, but I remembered that idea came to me many, many years ago that I should write a children's book. So I said, okay, then this is a time for writing a children's book. So I jumped on the idea, and that's how I became a writer. So anybody can do it if you really believe in it. Yes, it is good that you read. I'm a better reader now because I'm into more poetry reading. So I am finding myself reading a lot more because I want to write another book. So
Hashtag life goals, for sure. Absolutely. So when you think about, the work that you're doing and your particular artistic practice, like what is the thing about your artistic practice that has you the most fired up, that gets you the most like out of bed, ready to go do the thing? So I'm gonna start with you, my man.
Sure. So I have this big initiative. My first book is called Black Men Cry Poetry. And I really wrote it because I have this passion for young Black men that feel that they don't know how to express all the feelings and whether it's good or bad, love, hate, whatever the emotions are that they have inside, they don't know how to express that. Because I remember being an 11-year-old boy seeking love and not having these things and wanting to express it, but I didn't know how. And I remembered sitting and hearing that one song by Nas on the radio, and that opened my eyes to that. So my initiative right now is to just to show Black men that we can express ourselves poetically. And it's something that, try it. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not for you. Maybe songwriting is for you. But I mean, it's still writing. But I just feel like, especially the way, because I'm very expressive with my poetry, so I feel like a lot of young Black men usually come up to me like, yo, that was fire. I love how you said that. It almost sounds like you're rapping, but you're not rapping. And I was like, yeah, well, try it. Like, sit at home and just try it. Just take a pen. You could do it. If I could do it, you could do it. Because I never knew that it was in me until I actually sat and tried to do it. So that's where my passion is. I really have a passion for especially young Black men, and exposing them to this art form of poetry and spoken word.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Judith,
Okay. But the question again?
what get you excited and jump up out of your bed?
Oh, when it comes to art?
Yes,
Okay.
not the ackee and saltfish and the provision, all right?
Okay, it's just to be as expressive in my art form as possible. That's my initiative. I am now 50 years old,
Which part?
and I am now 50
Hashtag
years
Black
old.
don't crack.
And I am living the life that I want to live. Artistically. So anyhow and any form that art grabs my heart, that's how I'm going to express it. So that's my initiative. Anyway, anything that comes, it's art, and I'm going to express it that way.
Okay, very good. All right. Ms. Grimes.
So a little less joyful, I think. As I had mentioned earlier, when I'm writing creative nonfiction or poetry, it's usually love, loss, grief. So it's those moments that I'm in pain that I pick up my pen and I write something that is shorter form. So any poem, typically. The longer creative nonfiction pieces that I write, it takes a lot of work, right? So to be in that place emotionally for that extended period of time is exhausting. So that's not typically the longer form pieces that I write, but I am very excited about the fiction that I write. I write a lot of thrillers and speculative fiction, things like Black Mirror-ish, but not quite as terrifying, I guess. So, sitting in those moments and like thinking about what the world would be like and taking my characters on those journeys and seeing where they lead me, that I find very exciting.
That's amazing. Thank you all. Yeah, please applaud. Just going to turn to the audience and see if there's anybody who has a question at this point. I got lots, but I just want to see if folks out here, they have anything they want to comment or a question about. Please, this is the moment to do so. Don't be shy. Nobody's going to eat you up. It's all good. You know what I mean? So is there anybody out here who has a question? I see one over here. You go ahead, sir. Yes, please go ahead. Speak very loudly.
Judith, he's
Where do
talking to
you
you.
find your time? Where do
Where do I
time?
find the time?
Yeah, you first.
Because, as I said, when I'm I mean for be rude, I'm just being straight up, is when I'm in the washroom on my throne. And I get my paper and pen. And I tend to write down ideas, not every day, but when I do write, that's when an idea clicks. Sometimes even just by driving. Somebody can say something on the radio. I'm say, "Rotted glad, that sounds like a poem, eh?" And then even just, sometimes just the emotion, something when I'm feeling or if I'm reflecting back, right? Because even with this little island, all I end up with that was that someone on Facebook was saying to write something about this little island. Little but Yatalawa. And then the idea came and I sat down with it, right? So you have to try to make the time. You have to steal some moment, which I do. And then because I work also as a visiting nurse in the community. So while I'm documenting, so no eyes watching me, right? So I'm supposed to be documenting on the patient. And then when idea come, I may take out my little notebook from my thing. I'm going to start right. I'm going to say, okay, then that's good. So you got to steal a bit of a moment to find the time, because we'll always say we don't have the time, but we have to find the time.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Abigail.
Very similar to Judith, minus the throne portion. I work in downtown Toronto, and I live way out by Port Hope area, so I do a lot of commuting. So I spend a lot of time on the GO train, and I write on the train. So when I'm not writing on the train, I am very similar to what Judith's saying. Like an idea pops into my head. I'm a court registrar, so I sit in a court room all the time, and some lawyer is yammering on about whatever it is that they're talking about, and I'm like, yes, I'm totally listening, but really I'm writing over here. So
You got lawyers in here, so you be careful.
I mean, very, very convincing arguments from all of you, I'm sure. But yeah, you got to steal the time. I mean, borrow the time if an employer's in the room. We're not stealing. But yeah, that's basically it.
And again, like I said, I'm very nerdy, so I don't watch TV. I literally spend a lot of time when I'm on my piano, not on drums, or not usually. Right? I have a platform on Instagram called Writeaholics for that reason. Like, it's really a community of people that just passionately love to write every single day. I don't think there's been a day since I've ever written something, even if it's just a haiku, like just something short. I'm very passionate. I'd rather spend my time writing than moving around on Facebook or something. For me, I find more, especially if it really is your passion. I always tell people, if it is your passion, you'll find time to do it. Because it's a passion. It's like an addiction sometimes. That's how I feel. Poetry is.
All right. So while we get your microphone looked at, I'm just gonna put it out there. Haiku, right? I hear you talking about haiku. Does everybody know what a haiku is, right? No, it's a 3-line poem, and there's 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables, right? So it's just first 5 syllables, then you write down 7 more, 5 more, and you're done. That's a haiku. Oh. See what I did there? All right. So I'm going to go back out. Was there another question? Oh, I see one down here in the front, and then we'll go over there. Okay? So right here first. You go ahead. Speak loudly, Sharon.
I'll let you guys answer that first, because, yeah.
No, we don't find that they encourage to step into the artistic aspect of life. It's always about you have to turn lawyer, doctor, police, and chief. So, or nurses, right? It's never, oh, you should go into the art field. You should embrace it. You can embrace your passion. No, we don't find that. I started embracing art at a later age, right? And if me didn't know better, what I know now, if I know it then, I would have encouraged my children more, because there is such a freedom when you can express yourself in an artistic form. I mean, if you believe in a God, them say God create, right? Remember the word, God create. And we are made in the form of God. So if God a creator, so we're not creator too, right? So if we can free up that form of us, me tell you, say it feel good. Yes. So express it, love it, embrace it, let it be you, and teach your children to love it, because there is such a freedom in it. Amen. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord.
Amen. All right. Abby, you want to jump in on that?
I will. Skirt around it a little bit. I was lucky enough to have parents who really encouraged that. That's good. Despite the fact that in the first grade I wrote very disturbing stories about demons living in jars and all sorts of things. And oh yes, it was like troubling. But I didn't get kicked out of school or anything, so that was good. But having my parents and my family encourage that creative aspect of my life allowed me to have an outlet that, like, I didn't show any promise in sports or anything like that. So my siblings did that, and I stayed home and I wrote disturbing stories. But you grow up and you realize that you have to have a job, and you can do the art thing to play, but you gotta get a career. So shifting that focus in high school, unfortunately I put writing to the side. And so that kind of fell by the wayside for a really long time. And then recently it came back into my life thanks to some really awesome people, specifically my very good friend Anil Kamal. I'm going to shout him out here. He's a screenwriter, and he's doing really great things, and he saw something in me, and we kind of were able to get that thing moving again. So like Judith, later on in adulthood, realizing that there's this thing still inside you, and okay, you can work and pay your rent and do all the things, but you also need to tap into that thing that gives you life.
And it make you feel free.
And it makes you feel free. 100%.
So my experience, again, it's weird because my father brought home poetry and introduced me to poetry, but when I actually started getting into it, my parents did not like it because they realized that I was really passionate about it, and they thought, there was no money to be made in it. And as West Indian parents, they were like, listen, life is hard. You need to make money, focus on a real career. But ironically, now that my mother's 83, I was born late. My mother's 83. And now that she sees me traveling the world doing poetry, she's super proud of me now that she sees, money can be made doing this thing. And, her son is actually decent at it. But what I will say is it is our job now to break that cycle. So now I have 3 children, and my 2 daughters are very artistic. The first one, she writes poetry as well, and the second one wants to be an actor. And I try to encourage their dreams. So they both went to art school for high school, and I plan to send them to acting college if that's what they desire. But whatever their desire is, passion with arts, I'm trying to encourage. I've always encouraged them, be the best at whatever you do. And it doesn't matter, obviously you want to get paid for it, but work on your art and everything else will fall in.
All right.
That's a you.
That's it. All right, so we have this one more question, and then we'll wrap up. I know that y'all got to go home and children got to go to school in the morning, so we don't want to hold you up too long. So if you want to go ahead and pose your question.
Yes.
You can.
One of the main things I want to add is that you got inspiration from different sources, stuff like that. Have you guys ever written? Do you find writing when you're happy or when you're sad?
This morning, literally.
Yeah.
I had a situation that I broke down and I was in tears, and I texted my friend and I was like, yo, I need you to pray for me. And I'm a praying person. I'm a believer. I'm a praying person. But I was like, I am broken. I need you to pray for me. And I prayed and I was like, you know what? I need to write how I feel. Because sometimes I feel like we don't even know how we actually feel until we put it on paper. Right. So I took the time and I actually wrote a poem this morning about how I was feeling. And I was in tears while writing it. So yes, that is something that whether I'm happy, sad, feeling creative, I write.
Yes, I do. Maybe it's not ones that I share, but it's ones that I keep for myself. So, and then sometimes when I'm writing another poem, I sometimes will go back to those ones and then maybe pick out one or two words or maybe a couple of lines and then add them into the poem that I would like to share. Yeah. I just want to say, well, go ahead. So yes, yeah, we do write in tears, laughter, smile, and everything.
Everything.
Yeah, I as I'd mentioned before, the poetry that I write, that I tend to write, that I either share or don't, comes from a place of pain. So it's in those moments where it's, dark and tearful or mournful or regretful, that I would write something a little bit shorter about, being happy about it. That's when I'm like into writing whatever novel that I happen to be working on at that time. That brings me a lot of joy. So
Oh, sorry. One more thing I wanted to add is that sometimes when I'm actually sad or in tears, I'll purposely write a happy poem or write something total opposite to make me kind of escape that moment. So a lot of times I feel like poets get caught in this cycle of, oh, I'm sad or I'm angry, I'm going to write this how I actually feel. But sometimes I feel like it's more of a release when we actually write how we want to feel, how we want to experience life. So that's something you could tap into too. If you find yourself caught in that cycle of writing in tears and your poetry is one-dimensional, try to get out of that and just try to write something that where you want to be.
But sometimes you start out in that tears, and then by the time you go down, you find yourself a laugh.
yeah.
You end up writing, oh my goodness, this feels good. Then you start writing something totally different from when you started on the top, right? I just want to mention something. Is it what's your name again? I'm sorry? Wilfred. Mr. Wilfred, you can stand up here. He has shared something with me today. He came up to me and he was expressing about my Distica Island. And he said to me, you like my poem, however, I missed out one aspect of it, which is to include the Arawak Indians. Yes. And I expressed to him that it wasn't really that I meant to leave anyone out. It was just a poem that I wanted to share about my life because I started out with my neighbor string berry, right? So I was able to take myself back and listen to what he had to share. Yes. So thank you. And
Wow.
So what this has taught me is what poetry and writing can bring alive. Because if it wasn't for Medislick Island, I wouldn't have met this gentleman. And he wouldn't have. So thank you so much. So I have something else for right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do my research. I'm going to write one poem. I'm going to drop in a little bit of patois here and drop in a little bit of patois there and a little bit, we'll see each other again.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. I think that's a beautiful note for us to bring this event to a close. So I want to thank everyone, all of you, for taking the time to come and join us here today. I want to send, of course, a special shout out to the partners that helped to put this show together. So to the folks from African Anthology, from the Ajax Public Library, from What's Your Story Author Services, and of course the good people here at the St. Francis Center, including our man in the booth. Big love to everybody who does the work here to create this space and allow us to gather and to celebrate in this way. Of course, I want to also say thank you to the actual individuals who are part of our partnership, to Catherine and to Sarah from the library, to our videographer man way up in the back. Give love to Gary, who's been doing it here this evening, and love to Franco, who's been out front. Everybody who comes in and helps from the library, the folks who are here from JM and from the Baker's Lab. Maxine, who sits out there and sells the books and really helps to promote us. And of course, most importantly and most intrinsically, to our special guests this evening, the Pretty Provocative Poet, to Abigail Grimes, and to Judith Shaw. So thank you all for being here tonight. It is a pleasure and a privilege to be here. We will reconvene in this space on Saturday, the 19th of August. Look out for more information about tickets. That will be the first ticketed event that we are doing. So please take a look for ticket sales information and our lineup. It is going to be redonkulous. I am bringing some people. So make sure you're in this space that day, because we're going to have a little, emancipation.
Yourself and mental sleep. And thank you so much for everyone that came out today, because we're up on the stage. Thank you.
She wasn't supposed to say that. Everyone, make sure you get home safely. On behalf of BlackLit Durham, thank you for being in this space. Have a wonderful night.
Oh.
Because some of you know it's gonna be.
Thank you.